Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the PT on Ice Daily Show. My name is Christina Previtt. I am one of the lead faculty within our modern management of the older adult division. We have 3 courses in our geriatric curriculum, the CERT MMOA. We have our 8-week online essential foundations course with our next course starting October 11th. We have our 8-week online advanced concepts course, which if you have taken our essential foundations, you are eligible for advanced concepts that starts October 12th. And then we have our 2-day live course that we still have quite a few courses for the remainder of 2023 if you were looking to get involved. So we are in Falls Church, Virginia, October 7th and 8th. I am in Fountain Valley, California on the 14th and 15th. And then we are in Matawan, New Jersey on the 21st and 22nd. And if you did not see that, we are currently in what I call revamp season. We just updated our live content for MMOA Live. And if you are in advanced coming up in October, you are going to be getting brand new material. And I am so excited about that. And what we are going to talk about today is some of that content relating to the master's athlete. When we think about our geriatric curriculum, let's be honest, we are not talking about master's athletes most of the time, right? We often will talk about this sickness, wellness, fitness continuum. And when we talk to our geriatric clinicians who are on our calls or taking our courses, and we say, what percentage of individuals are in the sickness or the completely sedentary side of the spectrum, we're talking about the majority, right? We're talking about the majority. We're getting individuals who are sedentary or is struggling with disease burden from multimorbidity. And very few of our clinicians are working with the master's athlete. So why do we care about this group? Well, one, we want to cover the full spectrum of geriatrics. But secondly, there is this really neat kind of underpinning that we are gaining from a research perspective when we are evaluating the master's athlete. When we talk about aging physiology, it can be really tough to tease apart what we would call the natural history of getting older. What are things that we can expect to change across our physiological systems as a consequence of getting older? And what are the contributions of other things to that aging process? We talk about how we have accelerators and brakes to the aging process, and we can stack the deck in our favor. And then we're just talking about risks and statistics. And one of those things is that as we get older, we tend to move less. We tend to go very, obesity rates can go up, and chronic disease, one of the biggest. So we have this hard time teasing apart from the inactivity, the compound. The master's athlete has, especially for our lifelong exercisers, those who are veterans who have never really stepped away from the sport for very long, we're starting to get some ideas and tease apart, what is an aging process changes related to inactivity, obesity, chronic disease. And so I kind of want to tie this in. So we have this physiological change. And when we look at, for example, in the cardiovascular system, our endurance athletes, when we compare our masters endurance in their 70s, have a lower VO2 max than our endurance athletes in their 20s, but a similar VO2 max to our younger individuals in their 20s who are completely sedentary. And so that is showing that while, yes, there is a change to our cardiovascular output, our max heart rate is going to go down, our stroke output, our stroke volume, our cardiac output is going to decrease. Our amount of deconditioning in our VO2 max as a marker of cardiovascular fitness is a slower blunting than heart rate actually do not change with age in a healthy cardiovascularly conditioned older adult. And to me, that's fascinating. So we're looking at that from the endurance side. When we flip to the strength side, we see that our raw strength in our power bench deadlift, as long as they stay injury free and training volume remains pretty consistent, we're going to maintain those numbers for quite some time. And then as we go into different age groups over the age of 40, we're going to start to see some blunting down of that strength effect as a consequence of age. We talk about in the musculoskeletal system, though, that there is this change from this composition that has a bias towards type 2 fibers in certain muscle groups. And we see this shift towards more of a type 1 slow twitch fiber archetype in many of our muscles. And we seem to see that this is true in our strength athletes as well. And the way we're starting to gain insight into this information is by comparing our power lifters and weightlifters. So for our weightlifters, we are working on speed strength. So we are going to get those type 2 fibers at high percentages of our 1 rep max, but we're also going to try and preferentially activate them with some of these fast twitch movements, such as the clean and jerk and the snatch. And we start to see that the open records for weightlifting that are still seeing this switch of type 2 fibers. That does not mean that we don't train power and we're going to try and have this use it or lose it principle that holds true for everything. But we know that that type 2 fiber redistribution is part of this aging physiology that we can expect to see in many of our older adults. Taking a step back from that, it's super interesting to see that we are getting this heightened or slower rate of cardiovascular aging and endurance in our strength athletes. And that specificity principle appears to hold true. And it's something that we see very consistently in our rehabilitation efforts. We are trying to train a person's body to not experience pain, dysfunction, or loss of physical function in the exercises, in the movements, in the day to day tasks that are important to our individuals. And so when I step back and think of myself as a person in my 30s who would still consider myself to be very much an athlete, this idea of training both systems, I think, is extremely important and extremely relevant in our messaging for maintaining physical function. We see oftentimes that we